Batman. You cannot marry a woman without gills. You're from two different worlds. Oh, I've wasted my life.
So some people might not know this, but today is my 43rd birthday, and I'm planning. I'm going to go have a nice dinner with my family, then with my father-in-law and maybe one of my brother-in-laws and my uncle across the street. We're going to go play some pool. I might drink some Sam Mig Lights. By this point, I might be 3 or 4 in, which with my current drinking habits in a year, I drink 3 or 4 times a year. It means I will be probably spinning by now. So I needed to talk about something to be fun, put up on the channel for my birthday. And I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with my good friend, the man that's so cool they call him the Breen. Eric Breen, how you doing?
Happy birthday, Wes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a good year. I feel very blessed, and I just want to put this out there. I'm a very proud father this week. My 5-year-old's favorite band is AC/DC. Tell me I'm doing it wrong.
You are on top of the world, sir.
Absolutely. I was so proud of him. He's like, play the AC/DC. He wants to hear Thunderstruck when he takes it back. Doing something
nice.
Right. So today I thought we would talk about some cringe headlines. Most of these are from Screen Rant. I think we got 1 or 2 in there from CBR. Thought we'd talk about it. There's different reasons things can be cringe, Bree. They can be cringe just from the premise. They can be cringe because the writer is trying to force some type of sentiment. It could be just cringe because of what they're actually describing that actually happened in the comic book. So we're going to talk about these, have a little bit of fun at CBR and Screen Rants and DC's and maybe Marvel's expense here. A lot of Batman stuff in there. They do not get that character very well at all, but I don't know. You ready for this, Bree? We're going to hit the Batman stuff first, and we'll get the other characters after.
All right, let's have some fun.
All right, here's the first headline. Bruce Wayne spending billions to be Batman is worse than fans realized. Breen, I didn't realize it was terrible for Batman to spend Bruce Wayne to spend money on Batman. What the hell is this about?
What would you rather he do?
It's not like he doesn't, donate money to orphanages and hospitals and the GCPD, and he funds a lot of stuff around Gotham. It's not like he's not helping out, but this is what the article actually describes as in the recent DC Valentine's special. When Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn were on their first caper or whatever, there was the Wayne Enterprises automated distribution center, and they didn't pay taxes and they don't employ anybody. All they contribute is carbon monoxide or something, carbon dioxide. It's worse than we feared, Breed. Not only is he polluting the environment, he's not even paying people.
So 80 years of continuity is thrown out the window for a 12-page story about 2 characters that appeal more to cosplayers than comic book fans.
What is it about Bruce Wayne spending his own money? He's a fictional character. Not even a fictional character can spend their own money these days, Breen, without these people parsing it over and telling them what's problematic.
Well, this is why we were better off when we just had a couple of fanzines in the 80s, because people had time to think before they wrote. And I mean, this is, obviously this is just, when you have a 24/7 cycle, whether it's sports or entertainment, you're going to run out of ideas eventually. So this is the best somebody could come up with for, on this particular day. It's, rather meaningless in the grand scheme of things. I mean, he's probably spent billions over the years to A, keep the city going, B, to keep the crime from getting worse than it actually is, and, funding his personal war on crime, which keeps Gotham in the relative safety that it enjoys between being taken over by Bane and Joker and Bane, the Magistrate, the Court of Owls, Boss Thorne. So yeah, again, what's a poor billionaire to do?
He even funds the Justice League. It's not like the Justice League haven't saved the entire galaxy a few times. Money well spent.
That's true. Maybe it's time for the Green Lantern Corps to kick in some of that funding.
Pay your part, Oa. We're tired of having to drag you along with us. All right, let's go to the next one. So speaking of Bruce Wayne, basically keeping Gotham safe. This is a Batman theory from Nicholas Brooks. Bruce Wayne turned Gotham into a villain hotspot on purpose.
Yeah, he did. How else is he going to fill the 6 to 12 books he's in every month?
Do you think Bruce Wayne is out there courting villains? Like, listen, dude, I will throw you a couple of thousand on the side. Just come in, create some mayhem. I need some villains to hunt. I want Gotham not to be safe.
Wow, if you're right, that means that first article is right as well. If that's how he's spending his money. This is the classic chicken or the egg theory. If Batman wasn't there, would the villains be there? I would say yes, because it'd be a lot easier pickings. I've always wondered why some of these dumbass villains stay in Gotham when there is that giant bat there to stop them every time. But I know I'm kind of making light of this, but things just kind of happen organically. If there someone arrives to do nefarious deeds, someone is there to stop them. And then it kind of snowballs from there. So no, I don't think he turned into a villain hotspot. It just kind of happened that way.
Well, there's always been the theory that if Batman didn't exist, he's attracting all these supervillains, and the supervillains rise to the occasion, become more and more bad and more powerful to meet Batman's resistance. Okay, that's an interesting theory, whatever. But this one's almost implying that he's importing criminals because he's what is he, Craven? Is this Bruce's last hunt where he's got to prove that he can hunt the ultimate villains?
Again, it's attaching real world scenarios to a fictional universe that without the villains, those Bat books would be rather dull. So I get the idea, but no, I kind of reject that. That I said, now there might be villains that go there for the challenge, but if Batman wasn't there, I said, the only reason why they wouldn't still be in Gotham would be because there wouldn't be any Gotham worth being there for still.
Absolutely. I reject this theory. I do not believe that Bruce Wayne has turned Gotham into the most corrupt, vile city in the world just so he has some sport to play on Tuesday. Because he's too bored to go out and there and be a playboy on his off time. These writers do not like Batman very much. So this next one kind of proves the Joker's new girlfriend punchline caused Batman's dark future. So Batman has had this wonderful rogues gallery, essentially, for 80 years. He's had the best rogues gallery in all of comic books. That's probably one of the reasons he's the most popular, beloved superhero in the world. But nobody could cause Batman's dark future until Punchline. Why does the new girl character always have to be elevated so much? Why couldn't it be Joker that did it?
Yeah, again, this is a of the moment, elevate a character without having earned that elevation. Obviously, they're trying to make Punchline a thing, and they've actually done a fairly good job of doing
she's
that.
A thing, all right, yeah.
But you know what's going to stop that momentum? Articles like this.
Kevin Erdman and his ilk.
Again, it's if you want fans to turn on this character more so than they probably already have, because let's be honest, this is what we do now. We micro manage everything that comes out in these books. But if you want Punchline to be reviled, keep doing articles like this that say that she accomplished what, like you said, the Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, Bane, Ra's al Ghul, Deadshot, Hugo Strange, and on and on and on, couldn't do. So I said, I'm going to reject this one out of hand as well and chalk it up to just something is another clickbaity article.
It's all clickbait. It's like clickbait's its own sport these days, Bree.
That goes back to what I said about, in the 80s when we had the fanzines, they were a little bit more measured, and they didn't have to fill 24/7, 365. So yeah, that's what leads to a lot of, silly titles like this.
Yeah, it does suck for James Tynion because he has created a pretty cool character. Obviously, Jorge Jimenez had a big part to do with that with the character design. And these clickbait sites are just going to ruin the character for everybody.
Well, they do a pretty good job of ruining every character for everybody.
Oh yeah. They'll definitely push it a little bit too hard. We know that new Joker series is really going to end up being a punchline series, right?
Well, maybe not, because it is Tynan writing it, so he might be able to resist the temptation. Now, whoever follows him, assuming the book lasts that long, then all bets are off.
All right, so let's get to this last one. This one's actually pretty gross if you think about it, what they're saying here. The new Batman has a weakness Bruce Wayne didn't. Living parents.
Yeah, okay, let's take this headline and just substitute one word. The new Batman has a strength Bruce Wayne didn't. Living parents. Now, everybody, should have the luxury of having their parents around for as long as they possibly can, given a human lifespan. Obviously, not everybody gets to have that, and Bruce Wayne certainly didn't. But as you get older and you realize that your parents, when you're a little kid, they're right about everything. You hit a certain age, they're wrong about everything. You get a little older, you realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe they were onto something. And then as an adult, you come to appreciate what they were doing if you have good parents. And that's not a weakness. Now if your parent, like I said, if the mother in question is, backing the magistrate to the detriment of what you're trying to accomplish as the new Batman, maybe that's a little different. But I would never call having living parents a weakness, whether it's Batman or anybody.
Well, it's also implying that having dead parents, certainly they died when Bruce was very young, is a strength. I think that Bruce Wayne, probably the creators and most people that have read Batman would say that's not exactly a strength of the character. While it might be a motivating factor, it certainly has motivated him on his mission within Gotham. Just like the idea that his parents are dead, doesn't hold him back.
Well,
there's just like a gross feeling about this headline.
Now, the death of Bruce Wayne's parents obviously is the reason why there is a Batman. You could also make the case that is why he is so fiercely driven to the point to where he can never hope to have any kind of normal life. And eventually, if this were the real world, eventually it would drive him into an early grave, because there's something not all there with Bruce Wayne to drive him the way he does, because he puts the Batman before anything else, be it before personal happiness, for anything. And at some point, it's almost like the mission has overtaken. It's like the mission's more important than the man, which I totally understand. But if what they mean by the article is that it's a weakness, he doesn't have that driving force of dead parents to avenge for the rest of his life, then yeah. But again, that's kind of,
I think they mean it's a weakness because he's got, these parents, these bothersome parents that he has to deal with. Obviously they're against Batman.
Or that the fact that his parents are alive, he doesn't have that, overwhelming motivational drive to be Batman. So I don't know. I mean, you can take that one of two ways. Obviously I said if Thomas and Martha Wayne had lived, there wouldn't have been a Batman, more than likely.
I bet you Bruce Wayne in the fictional world would trade being Batman for having his parents.
Yes, and that's kind of well, you would hope.
I'm certain of it. I hate this. For all the clickbaity stuff, this one's gross. Just as far as the writer, in my opinion. Now let's get on to some stuff. I believe this isn't Batman. This next one is, there we go. DC is finally realizing Wonder Woman is their greatest asset. Now, if they're talking about Yara Flor, that's an asset. You know what I'm saying? But
I hear you.
The idea that Wonder Woman is the greatest asset for DC Comics is pretty laughable. They've done a poll. Who was your favorite DC hero? And she came in number 6, certainly behind Superman and Batman. Batman is the moneymaker. He's the breadwinner. He can basically hold up 7 simultaneous titles. He can be in Justice League. He's also in movies. And the idea that Wonder Woman's their greatest asset, unless you're talking about a certain side of Yara Flor, is quite laughable.
The only thing I can think
that
of...
is not to disparage Diana Prince, Wonder Woman. Wonderful character. Not the greatest asset of DC Comics.
No, if they're putting it, if they're saying it in the realm of the fictional DC universe, given that it was that she was the one that basically stopped, the Batman who lulls in metal that led to the where we are now with the upcoming Infinite Frontier, et cetera, then okay, that is you can make that statement because they in one of the things they redid, she was the first heroine, and now she's she's actually elevated to a higher plane, so to speak. So in the fictional realm, you could say yes, but they're talking about from a character and a sales realm, not even close. And that's not, again, that's not a knock on the character because, to me, she's earned her place in the
Superman's not close to Batman either.
No, those three have earned their place as the Trinity of DC, but Wonder Woman will never have the popularity among fans that Batman does, and at this point, neither will Superman.
It's Batman's world, and all the other DC characters are just a squirrel.
Now, personally, I'd rather have a second or third Wonder Woman title, written by writers that actually care about the character and not making their statements through Wonder Woman, than a 6th or 7th Batman title. Absolutely, because again, she is one of the big three, and probably should have multiple titles if done well. Same with Superman. But
well, there for quite a while, Justice League Dark was the best Wonder Woman comic you could read.
That's you're right. So she was still in Justice League, so she was appearing in 3 titles. But there's no reason why, she is a popular character. The movie did very well, the first one, and maybe the third one will. And I know the second one, there's all kinds of mitigating circumstances. Why not, give her more than one title if you can find the right creative teams to do it? But greatest asset, that's another. I kind of file that under clickbait as well, because I understand, she's Wonder Woman, and in 2021, that she has to be the best.
Well, the good thing is Wonder Woman has her own legacy already. No matter what Evan Mullican and these clickbait websites want to do, they're probably not going to get fans to turn on the character by misrepresenting her. Although I will say, if you're trying to make Wonder Woman Diana Prince look good with this headline, it's kind of embarrassing because as soon as people see it, they go, huh, Batman, Superman. Ridiculous. And moving on. So, well, I guess it was all DC this week. Let's get to our final DC headline. And this one's cringy on DC's part. Shazam kills the entire world in DC's future. Isn't that nice? Shazam obviously is Billy Batson with the power of Shazam. He's a very young boy. He's been left in hell, if you didn't know that one, Breed. And he was like strapped to a rock. And then Shazam was essentially running himself in the real world for a long time. And he ends up being like overtaken by one of the riders of the 4 Apocalypse, and he ends up killing the entire world. Isn't that a nice future for that character? Isn't it wonderful that he ends up killing everything? Except for Wonder Woman.
I can only assume that somewhere Wally West must be jealous.
It's like, it wasn't me this time.
Yeah. What's the point, DC? Come on, man. I said he's a kid who gets to live out his superhero fantasies. I doubt if one of them was killing the entire world.
Yeah. So I did not read Shazam #2. So hey, maybe I'm completely wrong on this future Shazam #2, but obviously this is the headline. You know why I didn't read it, Brain?
Yeah, because who wants to read Shazam killing the entire world?
I can only take so much superhero torture porn.
Yeah. And you're right. So, we're probably both wrong about this. It probably didn't happen, but still, Just
I'm
that they
pretty
would
sure it
want
did
you to
happen. It
think
was
that.
certainly hinting at it in Shazam #1. And Billy was definitely tied to a rock, to be tortured for all times in hell.
That's not why I would pick up a Shazam comic and read.
I feel bad for Jamie Andreasen. That's like his favorite character. I was like, you don't want to read this. I hope he did. I don't know. That's this week in clickbait headlines. If people enjoy this, let us know in the comment section. Maybe we'll make this a weekly thing. Breed and I do have a weekly discussion. It's on our calendars, and we can obviously throw this on the end of that. If people enjoy it, we'll keep it up. But let us know what you thought about these clickbait headlines. Did we get the right ones? And if you see some really good clickbait, send it my way because we might talk about it next week. You got anything else to say, Bree?
No, I'm good.
A man of few words. I like that.